guys, August coming at you with some Final Fantasy XIV, and today I'm going to be talking about the Astro and how to play the Astro and rate on the Astro and just cover all the Astro skills. Now there's quite a lot because the Astro has a lot going on for it. Out of the healers, I would say it's probably the most complicated but the most rewarding once you get to know all of it and you get to use it to its full potential. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it, shall we? So we have our DPS Toolkit, which is full Malefic. You will be spamming this all the time. 250 potency, single target skill. This is what you'll be doing when you're not healing. And then Combust 3 is your dot, damage over time, which will just keep up on the boss all the time. Well, as much as possible, but it has 30 seconds, so you've got a lot of time to think about reapplying it before it ends. And then for AoE we have Gravity 2. Now this becomes better than Malefic on 2 or more targets, so this is your AoE skill. And you want to be spamming that on AoE pulls. Anything over 2 mobs will be a DPS increase because 130 times 2 is 260 and Fall Malefic is only 250 potency. And then other skills that do damage as well is you can Minor Arcana. This is, you have to draw this now. It just randomly gives you either Lady of the Crowns or Lord of the Crowns. Lord of the Crowns is an AoE. Oh, we got Lord. Well, doesn't happen often, but it is 250 potency to all targets around you with quite a big AoE. So you'd hit that target over there as well. So that is another damaging skill. And then if you get the healing one, it's just I think it's 250 potency heal instead if it's the Lady of the Crown. But you're going to use that once every 60 seconds. So yeah, that is very hit or miss on DPS, but you should be doing it anyway once every 60 seconds because it's free DPS or free healing. And then other skills that you can do for damage is your Earthly Star. This is a big placed AoE. It's huge now. It's impossible to miss it. You've got to like place it way off to miss it now. But this is used as the heal, but it does have a damage effect as well. So when you place this down after, 10 seconds? Oh yeah. You can proc it now early. You can hit it to proc the heal and the DPS as well. But if you let it build up to now it's a giant dominance, you can proc it now as well anytime, or it'll just go off by itself. This will be more damage and more healing for everyone inside it. It does damage to enemies and it heals your party if they're inside it, which they should be because it's freaking huge. And the cure potency is quite high, 720 potency, and the deep damage potency is 310 to all nearby enemies with no fall off. So in dungeons and stuff, that's really nice. Chuck it down on every pack pretty much. Also 1 minute cooldown. And that's pretty much it for DPS skills. There is another skill that does do a little bit of damage, but it's purely mainly used for healing, so I'm not even going to talk about it right now. But let's move on then to some other skills. So let's move on to our heals then. Benefic. This is your single target, 500 potency, tier 1 pretty much. And you spam this, you do have a chance at getting a Benefic 2 proc, which will then be guaranteed crit. And it's really nice. But you don't often spam Benefic 1 unless there's like you're in a dungeon or something. See there, got a crit for Benefic 2. But during raids and extreme trials, you won't often be spamming Benefic 1. You'll be spamming Benefic 2 most likely if there's something going wrong, because most of the time you'll be using your off GCDs and regens and other heal will be helping. So yeah. And then moving on, Benefic 2, which is our single target Gear 2, pretty much exactly the same thing. Just Gear 2. It gives a lot of big heal if you need a big heal really fast. And then moving on, Aspected Benefic. Now this is pretty much just a regen. It does a little cure potency when you apply it, and then it does a ticking regen over time for 15 seconds. Try and have that rolling on the tank as often as possible, or DPS that just got hit by a mechanic or something that's not an immediate threat of dying. As you get them, then just chuck that on them or give them a nice little cure heal at the beginning, and then it'll just tick over time and top them up. Unless they need to be filled up, you want to hit them with a Benefic 2. And then moving on for some AoE, we have Helios, which is 400 potency. It's equal to Medica 1 on White Mage. You just spam Helios. It's your large range. That's your single, AoE flat heal. No regen on that. Just a flat 400 potency heal to everybody around you. And you use that to get people up for upcoming mechanic or something, or if something just hit and you need to be healed up before the next mechanic comes out, then that is what you'll go to top everyone off. And then Aspected Benefic is pretty much Helios. Aspected Helios, is Helios, but it gives you a regen on top of the heal. And the initial heal is a little bit smaller. It's only 250 potency, and then it gives you 150 potency over 15 seconds. So that is your Medica 2 pretty much if you play White Mage. That's your regen over time, AoE for everybody. So if you get hit by a raid bite or something, AoE group damage, and you guys need to be topped off but not like immediately, you can just hit them with an Inspected Helios and they'll slowly regen over time. And then moving on to Neutral Sect. Now this pretty much makes your Expected abilities, so Expected Benefic and Expected Helios, have two effects. The old sects that you used to have, Diurnal and Nocturnal, which give you shields and regens. This pretty much brings that back. So you pop that, and now your Expected Benefic will give you a shield and a regen. And so will your Expected Helios will also give you a shield and a regen as well. And that lasts for quite a long time, I believe 15 seconds, 30 seconds. So yeah, you can use that. And the cooldown, it's not too long, 120, so 2 minutes, 30 seconds. It's got a 1.5 minute downtime if you use it off cooldown. But yeah, you don't want to use it off cooldown, but make sure to utilize it quite often because it is there and it's quite powerful, especially like if there's a lot of raid damage coming out, you can pop that and then you use Expected Helios. It will shield everybody and put a regen on them, so they'll take less damage from the AoE that hits and then they'll regen afterwards. And then moving on to Macrocosmos. This is honestly my favorite skill right now, and it's probably the strongest skill that Astro has. And this is that skill that I was talking about that does a little bit of damage as well, but it's not used for that. See, it does do 250 potency to all the enemies, well, the first enemy, and then 40% less for all the remaining enemies in a large AoE around you. But you don't use it for that. So what you do for this is, say now there's a big raid-wide damage coming out to the group. You hit Macrocosmos, and then it stores pretty much the damage that you take, a percentage of it. 50% of the damage that is taken is then compiled. So if you get hit for 40,000, this will store up 20,000 HP, and then it will do a cure potency on top of that. I think it was 200 or something like that. But yeah, 200 over there. So you hit this, the raid wide hits. See, it's doing a little bit of damage over there. So for the next 10 seconds or so, whatever hits, 50% of that once the skill ends will be restored to you as health, or you can end it early, prematurely like now. And that's just a flat cure 200 potency heal. So that is extremely strong. It can top you up. So if there's a mechanic that brings you guys all down to 1 HP, so say now tanks have 80k HP, healers and everybody else has 40k HP, it's 20k for healers and ranged and everybody else, and that's 40k heal for tanks just instantly, and it's extremely fast. You don't have, there's no like, once you activate it a second time, it's instant. Your health is full. It doesn't have a cast time. It doesn't have an animation, nothing. It's just instant top off. It's really, really strong and should be used for big raid wides that you know are coming up. Anyway, moving on. Celestial Intersection. This is pretty much your barrier. It's like a little shitty Adler pretty much. You get 2 of them with a 30-second recast time. So you can use them quite often, every 30 seconds. They don't stack, unfortunately, but you can use them on whatever. It's a 200 potency shield. That's pretty much old Aspected Benefic if you were in Nocturnal Sect. And then moving on, what do we have next? We have Sinistry. Now this fooled me for the longest time to be a bad skill, but this is a very good skill. It's on a 2-minute cooldown and you should be using it if your tank is taking high damage. So what this does is you put it on someone and then, well, whoever you heal, doesn't matter. This target that your Sinistry is on will also receive 40% of that healing. But what this does is it does double dip. So if you put it on the tank and then you heal the tank, they'll be getting the full. So if I use Benefic 2, they'll be getting the full heal from Benefic 2, and they'll be getting the 40% extra from Sinistry as well. So it's extremely strong tank cooldown, 20 seconds. And yeah, very, very good for that. So it just increases your healing on the same target pretty much. Or you can heal another target and that target will receive healing as well. So in a situation where both tanks are getting hit quite hard, then you chuck this up on one of them, heal the other one, and they both get healed at the same time. That's really good for ad phases in some fights that I won't speak about now because I don't want to spoil any fights. This is not fight guide. But yeah, there's a lot of ad phases and stuff where both tanks will be getting hit at the same time. And then you can chuck that on one, heal the other one. Bam, done. Alright, so what else do we have here? We have Celestial Opposition. Now this is like pretty much a shitty Medica 2 or like a Whispering Wind from... Actually, it's a little bit stronger than Whispering Wind from Scholar. But anyway, it's just a big AoE heal, 200 potency, and then it's also a regen over time, 100 potency heal over 15 seconds. So it's a small little regen. It's on a minute cooldown, as most things are on Astro. Weird timing, but anyway. Yeah, Celestial Opposition, just a little regen. Doesn't last too long. It's free, doesn't cost any MP. and it's instant cast, so you can cast it while on the move. And then move it on to some other stuff. We have Horoscope. Now this is an interesting ability. You proc it, and then once it expires, and if you haven't done anything during that duration, it'll just be a 200 potency heal to everybody. It's a raid-wide AoE around you. But if you do use Helios or aspected Helios, it increases the duration of Horoscope to 30 seconds, so it will last for 30 seconds before it procs itself, or if you press it again, it will proc instantly when you press it, but then the heal becomes a 400 potency heal. So see, for example, there's 10 seconds is left, and then if I go Helios, it pretty much takes the Helios's healing and boosts us up to 30 seconds. So this will go off in 30 seconds, or I can proc it myself for the heal right there. So another good raid wide. Also, you guessed it, on a minute cooldown. But yeah, that's just more AoE healing. So always use that, or try and use that in conjunction with the Helios or aspected Helios. You could use it as like a double dip where you use Horoscope and then you aspected Helios and then you hit Horoscope again. So it's pretty much like you did a Helios and you got the regen from aspected Helios at the same time. If you like have to main heal and do a lot of healing output on something. And then we have another skill. This is a new skill unlocked at 86, Exaltation. Pretty much like a little X-Cog kind of thing, but a shield more like it, because it does reduce the target's damage taken by 10%. So chuck this on the tank, they'll take 10% less damage for 8 seconds, and at the end of the duration they'll get the heal for 500 potency. So it's a nice, it's practically like X-Cog, but not exactly the same from Scholar. But yeah, it's a shield and a little heal once it expires. And then we have Collective Unconscious. Now this just erects a magic barrier around you and reduces all damage taken inside by 10% of everybody. And as well, when they leave or at the end of the cast or whatever, I think as soon as you activate it, they get the regen ticking on them. So quite often you would see, I would run into the group if I know there's a little bit of raid damage coming out. You don't have to stand there and channel the Collective Unconscious through the whole duration to get the regen. So you just hit it like this, see it's a big bubble, and then you just walk away. And they've already got the regen ticking on them. So you could even do it faster than that. I just did it to show you the AoE. So you hit the shield and you just walk instantly. Like you just hit it and carry on doing whatever you're doing. And it's the regen in that area around you. Okay, moving on. We have Lightspeed. Now this is a very good skill. You'll be using it in your opener most of the time. And then after that on cooldown pretty much. It just makes all your spells that have 2.5 second cast time instant cast. Or reduces all your spells by 2.5 seconds, but most of your skills have 2.5 seconds or less, excluding raises. It won't do much to raise. And what that does is gives you instant cast, so you use that in your opener, use that and you run around, and then you can just spam your DPS ability. Or you could use it as a healing cooldown, where your Benefic 2 becomes an instant cast as well on your tank. Your tank's taking a lot of damage. Or you're doing a big pull in a dungeon and the tank is just getting destroyed. You can use Lightspeed to catch them up. And that's it. So use it. But I like to use it in my opener pretty much. And then after that, it's situational where you want to use it and how you want to use it depending on what's happening. And then we have Divination. Or Divination, however you want to pronounce it. It's just a flat 6% damage buff to everybody around you for 15 seconds. Just use it on cooldown. It's just free damage to everybody. You don't have to worry about your little things over here anymore. That comes into play with a new skill that we have, Astrodyne. Now this, you see these little things over here, when you draw a card, there's 3 different types of little, I don't even know what these things are called, like mini arcanums or something. But there's the moon, the sun, and then there's this big circle. Now, depending on how many different one of those you have, you can only use this skill once you have 3. See, I built up 2 already, and this can also only all be done while in combat. That's why I'm staying in combat with the dummies. So when you use Astrodyne, if you have one, so say now we had 1 sun, or we just had 3 suns, so it's 1 different type, like there's no other type, then you're only guaranteed to buff Harmony of the Spirit, which increases your MP regen for quite a while. I think, what's it, like 30 seconds or something, 15 seconds, but that's quite nice. If you use it only for that, you just use it. Just try and use it all the time. It is on a, realistically, it's a 1.5 minute cooldown, because you can only draw a card every 30 seconds. And you need to draw at least 3 cards or use 3 cards after drawing them to use it. So realistically, every 1.5 minutes you can use that. But try and get all 3 different ones, or at least 2 different types, and then you get all these buffs. So for one type, you'll get the Spirit regen, so that's MP. And then for 2 different types, you will get the spell cast time reduced by 10% 5%, and you'll get the spirit one as well. And then if you get 3 different ones, it'll be a 5% damage increase and healing increase, and the cast time reduce, and the MP regen. So if you do get 3, it's very much better to get 3. And how to get 3, so say now you can, I fill this up, so I use this card on me now, and now I've got 2 different types and it's ready to be used, but I only have a moon and a sun. I'm still missing the circle. So I draw another card, and you see it's the sun again, so we'll get the sun again. It will replace the furthest one on the left, so these 2 will push forward and this next one will come in over here. So if I use that, it'll still be 2, but then what you can do is you hit redraw. Oh, we got unlucky, we got that again. And then what you could do then is undraw, you throw the card away. But I wouldn't suggest doing that. And then there we go, I got lucky, I got the moon. So now I use the moon on me, and I have the 3. So I will get all of the buffs on me. But yeah, I would say try and go for 2 of them. The third one, most of the time you can get it if you're lucky. But yeah, don't wait too long on wasting that MP regen, because that MP regen is really huge. It's really, really nice. It's like having another lucid dreaming, but you already have lucid dreaming, so you have 2 lucid dreamings. It's just not as powerful as lucid dreaming, but it's close. That's 15 seconds, 50 potency, and lucid dreaming is 55 seconds and 55 potency, but 21 seconds. So it's pretty close. But yeah, you'll never run out of MP on a Astro if you're using Astrodyne. But now what this does is it gives me all 3 buffs. See, now I've got the cast time, I've got the MP, I've got the damage and the healing. So the only way to get the damage buff and the healing buff is if you have 3. So try and get it at 3 as often as possible. So you use a card, and then we get the moon, use another card, we got another moon, and then the last card will dictate, and then yeah, use redraw or undraw depending on how you feel about it all. And minor arcana, and you see that's the Lady of the Crowns, it's 400 potency AoE heal instead of Lady of the Lord of the Crowns, and that's the differences over there. So we have spoken a little bit about cards now and everything, and how to draw and undraw and build up your buffs for Astrodyne. But now let's talk about cards on other players, which you'll be doing with your cards most of the time. So you draw a card, there's 3 for melee and there's 3 for ranged. Now the way you can tell is this over here has a blue card. See, it's blue in the background, that is for melee. So the blue card you want to use on melee. And then the other card is purple, which would be the ewer, the spire, and the bowl. Those are all purple, and those you want to be using on range DPS. But we'll see over here in a second when we draw. Oh, we got a blue again. Come on, redraw. Purple, there we go. So that's what they look like. That's for ranged. They'll have the purple background like that, and that is for range DPS. And see, we have 3 again of the same, so we could use this for that, but would only get 1 buff for the MP. So, but if I use this card now, then I'll have 2 different ones, and we can do that again. And also your minor arcana will go into there, Lady of the Crown or Lord of the Crown, so DPS or healing. And that's pretty much all there is to the cards and everything. And that's pretty much the whole kit on Scholar. The rest is a Ascend, which is your, what do you call it, Revive, which all healers have anyway, just named differently. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is. So if I missed anything, or you guys have any questions of combos or things to do, ask them down in the comments below, and I'll make sure to answer all the questions that I can. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Hope you're having a great Christmas and a happy new year when it gets there. I'll catch you on the next one. Augie sign out.
Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the